Hey everybody, this is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and we're going to do a little recap on the Mecum Glendale auction that happened last weekend. I think they did pretty well. They got $54 million in sales, and I don't know if that's a record or not, but the press release they sent out didn't say it was a record, which means, a lot of these auctions are reading between the lines. If it doesn't say numbers matching in the auction listing, it's not numbers matching. So if 54 million isn't a record, they would say it in there. So, but I mean, I still think that's pretty good. One interesting thing about the Mecum Glendale is they basically did that to compete directly with Barrett-Jackson. I mean, they were never going to do the same weekend. Mecum has their Kissimmee auction, which is, kind of eclipsed Barrett-Jackson a little bit. More cars, more money. And then Mecum Glendale did this as kind of an alternative to Barrett-Jackson. They did it in March, a couple months after the January Barrett-Jackson auction, and they offer reserve, and Barrett-Jackson does not. So it's just kind of an interesting, compare and contrast on that. The big thing about this auction, the big thing that that I was paying attention to was Mopars5150 brought a pretty good collection here, and there's actually some pretty good Mopars down there. I had some friends down there looking at cars for me, kind of telling me what condition some of these were, and there's actually some decent Mopars here. Honestly, almost better than Barrett. They weren't as high end cars. Barrett had a lot of wing cars and that kind of stuff. There wasn't any wing cars at Mecum Glendale, but looked like there's some decent Mopars there. There's some that weren't so nice too that we highlighted. But if you're not familiar with Mopars5150, so they kind of came on the scene a few years ago. They're really good at social media. I don't know who does their social media, but they're way better at it than I am. Everywhere they go around, they're wearing their 5150 shirts and all that, and I'm wearing a 24 Hours of Lemon shirt on this. I really need to get some more Rocket Resto swag because I do a better job of branding myself because I've never been very good at that. Even on their videos, they just did a wrap up video for Glendale, and they like right here is like this giant Mopar 5150 on the side of the screen right there, and I have a logo there, but it's kind of tiny, so I don't know, maybe I need to updo that stuff. But yeah, they're really good at social media, and they were kind of famous. Their Instagram account is done really, really well, and they're really good at finding barn finds. But they did a big car giveaway a few years ago. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but they gave away a whole bunch of cars. They weren't like super nice cars, but the deal was like it was like dusters and trucks, and but they were decent project cars that they just gave away. And if you signed up for their Instagram account, they gave you a car. It was a drawing, it wasn't everyone who did it, but they got like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers from doing this, and they delivered them. They were kind of all around the country. They have a big home base in California. They have a base in Texas, and they used to have one in Georgia. And they lost the lease out there, so they actually had a big sale a couple years ago. I think last year before. They sold a bunch of cars off that. So they're basically just in Texas and California now. And it's a couple different guys run it. Troy Bergeron, Tony Cedillo, I think Nico's the other name of the guy. There's a few other guys involved with that, but those are kind of the main guys. And they seem like pretty nice guys. I met them a few times at McCacken this year. They had a huge display in the barn find section, a few cars in there at the McCacken show this year. We had our 70 Roner 446 barrel there in the same thing. So I got a chance to talk to them a little bit. They're in the same area, and they seem like nice guys, and they're really good at finding stuff. They found a Charger in our backyard last month. I'd seen the ad, but it was a ton of money, and apparently they stepped up and do it. They're not afraid to spend money on cars, but I think they were kind of getting a little bloated on the inventory, and they have their own dealership license and sell stuff, and I think they just thought it was a good chance to get rid of a bunch of stuff all at once. And Arizona's kind of between Texas and California. They're two shops. So, and they kind of threw them up there, and to kind of see what would happen. And I think they did pretty well. I mean, we'll have a little wrap up at the end here. I highlighted a couple cars they brought, and it seemed like they did pretty well. So, but yeah, a little background on them. I think that was kind of that was the big Mopar collection, obviously, with this. And they did pretty well. Mopar hobby still going, and 5150 knows what they're doing. They don't really buy junk. So, you know, most of the cars they listed that were pretty nice. So, all right, we'll get in the auction here. You know, we highlighted a bunch of different cars. You know, we didn't do every Mopar, but we did a bunch, and, you know, kind of with our commentary. And so, yeah, hope everybody enjoys this, and we'll have a little wrap up at the end and kind of where we think where everything's going right now. All right, first vehicle we're going to cover here is a 1966 Dodge W300 Power Wagon. So most of you know the Power Wagons. They're the post-World War II trucks, the super heavy-duty ones. They're super cool. Everybody likes. Well, Dodge called the 4x4 on the regular truck the Power Wagon. It was kind of the 4x4 version, and this truck looks pretty nice. So it's pretty customized. It's got custom gauges, you know, custom seats and flatbed, and looks like they did a pretty good job of modifying it. It's already up to $30,000, which is pretty good money. I love the dash on these. They have this industrial dash on some of these heavy duty trucks, and it just looks really cool. There was an optional tack, and our friend Dan has a bunch of these. We've had an opportunity to work on a few of them. They're really cool trucks. I think they've done a pretty good job in this one. You know, locking front hubs, the super swampers. I don't know if that's a lift or not, although it does looks way higher in the front than the back. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's if the flatbed's kind of a drop down the rear axle, but it seems like it's way up in front. I love the door handles on these too. They're very, very cool. Icon's done a few of these crew cab trucks, and the funny part is they've pretty much modified everything but the door handles. They love the door handles. You know, there's no blackout behind the grill on this, but I think that's right on these big trucks. You know, winch, it's got a lot going for it. It's been stuck at 30 for a while. They're working this one pretty hard. And again, you know, I'm sure they got way more than $30,000 into this. I think that's pretty reasonable price for this truck. You know, 4x4 Dodges are not easy to find. You know, this one, it's Omaha orange, has a few mods, you know, has the West Coast mirrors on it. I like the look of those. So they left the holes in the door on that, but overall, I think this is a pretty nice W300 truck. I would say they rolled the bid back a little bit, back to 28. I'm not sure. Sometimes they get confused in the audience who has the high bid. They start arguing over it. They have not. Oh, they pulled the reserve, so looks like it's going to sell. Again, I think $28,000 is pretty good money for this. The Dodges are starting to catch up to the GMs and the Fords, so pretty strong start at Mecum Glendale. Okay, now we're going to show you another truck here. This is a Dodge Ram Charger, 1989. This kind of has the standard 4-inch lift, 35-inch tires, you know, the lights in the front. That's kind of what everybody's doing to these right now. It shows 65,000 miles. I'm assuming it's probably 165. Definitely has new paint. The paint Chrysler had in the 80s was not good. It just didn't hold up, especially silver. That was like the worst color in the world. What's kind of cool about this one is it's actually a 4-speed, 318 4-speed. You can get a 318 in these, but it's actually a 4-speed. And you know, they made from 74 to 80, they were called the pop top. So the top came off, and then they came out with these in 81, and they have a, you know, fixed top, and the pop tops definitely go for more money than the fixed top trucks. But these are still pretty cool. You know, again, a competitor for the Bronco and the Blazer. Dodge kind of had their unique take on it. So it's bid up to 22, which is pretty good money for one of these. But again, like, I mean, it costs more to restore these than that. You know, it's got a nice paint job on it, the tint, the lift, the wheels, you know, all that stuff adds up pretty quick. But that's kind of like the standard formula for any 4-wheel drive truck right now. Everybody wants to lift them, put the big tires on it and everything. So looks like it's stuck at 22 for a little bit here. Still has the standard mirrors on it. You know, the interior looks really nice, has the velour, you know, interior, very 80s. The red velour, like, seems like everything had those in the 80s. Has the big wagon wheels. Those are probably at least 10-inch wheels with the big mud tires on it, although this thing will probably never see off-road again. But they're actually working this one pretty hard. We're at a minute 40 on the... Okay, they went down to 21, hit reserve at 21.5. I don't know if they worked a deal on that. They do that sometimes. New owner looks pretty happy. I said, looks like a pretty nice truck. I mean, 21.5 seems like a lot of money for an 80s Ram Charger, but I think that's probably a pretty good value. I mean, you couldn't build that truck for that. You just want something you can enjoy and go. That's probably about right for that truck. And we got our first Hemi car here, a 1966 Dodge Charger with a 426 Hemi. These are the 66, 67 Chargers are very cool cars. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these cars. I love the design, I love the interiors, but they are really, really hard to work on. We've had a few of them through the shop here at Rocket, and they've got the electroluminescent gauges, which there's only a couple guys who can fix those. It's super expensive to fix. The headlights, they never seem to work. They're super complicated, and they have like the whole thing rotates. It's like a 40-pound bucket that has to rotate in and out for the headlights to work, and it's just a lot of work to do that. These cars were unloved for years and years and years. I mean, parts availability was hard. They were really hard to restore, and a lot of the parts have come out in a few years, and kind of a rising tide lifts all boats situation where the 68 to 70 cars have gone up so much. Like, these are kind of being an alternative now. It used to be able to get a good driver for 10, 15 grand. Now they're 20, 25. And the Hemi cars have really been going up. There's been a couple on Bring a Trailer lately that have gotten huge money on it. This car's got pretty good documentation. It's got all the owners. It's funny, in the docs it actually says 206,000 miles, which I kind of wonder if that's a mistake or not, because that's a ton of miles for a Hemi car. But they've got ownership history. It's got a floor tack. It's a pretty cool car. I think that's a pretty good deal for that car. On Bring a Trailer, they've been bringing more money than that. A couple years ago, that would have been good. So again, I'm not sure if maybe this car had some issues or not, but that seems like a decent deal for that car, for a 66 Hemi Charger. That looks like it's in pretty good shape. Okay, we've got our first second gen 68 to 70 Charger here. There's going to be a lot more coming up. Mopars5150, which is kind of the focus the auction brought a few. This is a 1968 Dodge Charger RT. Easiest way to tell on these is the side markers. They're round on a 68. They also have the kind of bullet tail lights. The engine bay is not nice on this. It looks like kind of a kind of 80s type build. They didn't do much upgrading. It's got the overflow. It's got, what a weird shifter. So they put a pistol grip type shifter in, but then a chrome handle on top. I don't understand that shifter at all. It says it's got a Dana 60. I talked to a friend of mine who was down there, and they said this really wasn't that nice of a car. It had a bunch of little issues going on with it, and you can just tell there's a lot of details that are wrong on it. It does have the Dana 60, which is correct. Any 440 or Hemi 4-speed Mopar should come with a Dana 60 from the factory, so it's still there, but it's got the chrome cover on it, all that usual stuff. At least I would say they got the bumblebee stripe in the right place. So kind of a mediocre car. $75,000 seems to be kind of the going price for an RT, second gen Charger right now. But it's, kind of the theme's been kind of everything's kind of flat right now. We just sold a 318 car for not that much less than this. So, and it's still going at 77. This car has no reserve, which is, it takes some risk taking a car to an auction like that. But if you're going to do a no reserve car, Charger's probably a pretty good one. It's still 80, still going. They're working it pretty hard. It was up on the block for a minute 40. So I think 80K for a 444 speed, even if it isn't that nice, is probably a pretty reasonable amount for that car. So again, we're kind of going sideways on prices here, but that's kind of where we're at with this market right now. Gonna give some A-body some love here. This is a 1968 Dodge Dart GTS. It's a 340 automatic car, and this car honestly is a little bit of a train wreck. There's no blackout behind the grille. Everything's chrome, nothing's stock. They show in the pictures it is numbers matching, but it's real hard to see the numbers in the pictures. Again, I couldn't see this one in person. It's got the extra gauges. I mean, it's definitely a day two race car. They got the gauges. It's sitting too low in the back. I think the stripe's in the right place. It looks a little far forward to me, but I think that might be right. I actually like the Craigers on this. I don't mind that at all, but it's just not a great car. And this one, they actually short gavel a little bit. Wow, that was only on the block for 45 seconds. I think that's one of the shortest I've seen. It's got the tint, so I think $35,000 is all the money on this car, because I don't think it's really that nice of a car. I don't think it's that nice of a restoration. But 35 grand, I think is pretty good money for that. Next car here is a 1969 Dodge Charger, and it's an RT SE. SE was the luxury package on these. So you got the wood grain dash, leather interior, just a little upgrade on the interior. They were just a little bit nicer. This car really looks pretty nice, although it looks like they didn't black out behind the grille. If you've been watching this channel for very long, that's my biggest pet peeve on these Mopars. You shouldn't be able to see any body color through that grille. I really don't like that. But this car just seems a lot nicer than that 68. This is 69. The biggest difference is the side markers. These have the rectangle reflectors and then the full-length taillights on the back, and then the chrome in the middle of the grille, the split in the middle. But this car really looks pretty nice. I mean, I took a really good look at this thing, and it really looks like it's a pretty decent car. I talked to a friend of mine who was down there and said this one was pretty nice. And you can see it's reflected in the money. You know, this is a six-figure car, whereas that blue one was closer to 80. This also has AC, which is, it's interesting, you know, even 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, AC was considered a minus on these cars. It does add a lot of complication. I mean, those heater boxes, the pods, the valves, all the AC stuff, trying to run that RV2 compressor, takes a ton of horsepower going down the road. It also adds about 100 to 150 pounds to the weight of the car. But now AC is kind of a plus. You know, people are getting older. They want to be able to drive stuff. You know, the luxury's good. You know, with the SE package, you know, it's a 440. This car's got a lot going for it. This is one of the better, you know, non-Hemi cars you can see. But yeah, it looks like a really nice car. It's getting good money. $115,000. Man, that's good money for a 440 RT. And it's interesting. I believe these are all part of a collection too, from what I've been able to see. I was told that the 68, the 66 Hemi Charger, this one, and there's a 70 Charger coming up here. We'll show you. They're all part of a collection. They're actually they're working this one pretty hard. Looks like they got a phone bidder here. I mean, $115,000 is pretty good money for it, and it's been up for over 2 minutes. I mean, it's funny that Dart was up for like 45, 50 seconds. This one went over 2 minutes. But yeah, 115 is really good money for a 440 Charger, but this one's got a lot going for it. You know, RTSE, AC, 440, it's a good car. I didn't see anything about numbers matching, so I'm not sure about that. But again, good money for this car. So here's the last one from that collection. This is a 70 Charger, and this one's just a stunner. It really is. It's EV2 Hemi Orange, 440, AC. Man, I think the common theme here is AC cars are bringing good money right now. They really are. So this is a 70. So it has the full wraparound front grille, has the door scallops on an RT. Taillights are the same as a 69. Side markers are actually lit instead of the rectangle reflectors. So there's a few differences between the 70 and the 69, but I mean, white interior, Hemi orange. It's got the kind of the quarter panel stripe, not the bumblebee, but it kind of wraps around the door and goes back to the quarter panel. But this is a really nice car, and it's really showing. I mean, the big advantage of a 70 over a 68 and a 69 is all the high impact colors. You know, 68 colors were a little boring. 69, there was a few more, but 70 just has all those high impact colors. The white top and interior, just what a combo. And $120,000 is really good money for a 440 car. And it's funny, Mecum actually like put this on their YouTube channel too, because they were real proud of this sale. They were the money they got on this thing. But I said it's, you know, the car speaks for itself. Looks like it's a really nice car. It's AC. AC cars are bringing a premium, which I never thought that would happen, but they really are right now. But it's, you know, it's kind of a good contrast between the 68, the 69, and the 70. You know, the 68 wasn't as nice as the 69 and the 70. You know, the 69 was a pretty nice car, but it had some issues. But 70 has the high impact paint and that color combo. You know, it really brought a premium. You know, 22.5 is good money, and keep in mind it's 122.5 plus 10%. So, but that's good money for that car. I think that's, you know, AC cars are going up in value. And here we've got a 1970 Roadrunner. It's a 446 barrel 4-speed car. It's a 2-door post with a decor package. You can tell because it's got on the B pillar on the post, they have chrome over it. That means decor package. It was a pretty good car. I mean, it looks like it's a Touareg 4-speed, 446. I don't know about a fender tag on this. I was trying to figure out more info on it. I couldn't find much on it. It doesn't say numbers matching in the description, so I'm assuming it's not. If they don't mention it, it's definitely not. You know, one thing, like, I don't understand why they get the wrong tires on this. So it's got the bias ply tires, but it's Firestones. I don't know why they just get the Goodyears. It's pretty much the same price. I guess the Goodyears are back ordered right now, but just get the right ones. The Roadrunner market's interesting because it's not really the same as a Charger market. The 68, 69, 70 on a Charger, you know, it's kind of the opposite. You know, like 68 and 9 seem to go for more money than the 70. On the Roadrunner, it's the other way around. Like 68's the least, then 69, then 70's the most. And 70 just had more fun stuff available. It had the high option colors, had the pistol grip shifter, you know, had the 6-pack. I mean, you can get an A12 and the 69, but it's kind of a different package. But yeah, I mean, this is really cheap for a 6-barrel car. So I'm not real sure what's wrong with this car. Obviously, it's not numbers matching. Some of the detailing is not quite right. That guy, you know, I mean, this should be a $100,000 car. So I'm assuming there's probably no fender tag on it. It's probably got a few other issues going on. So, but that's really, really cheap for a 6-barrel 4-speed Roadrunner. So I'm assuming, again, I don't have any insider knowledge in this one, unfortunately, but I'm assuming probably no fender tag, and it probably has a bunch of issues. But if anybody knows anything more about this car, I'd really like to hear it. So I thought I'd throw a little wild card in here. This is a 1983 Chrysler Imperial. And what makes this one special is it was owned by Lee Iacocca, the savior of Chrysler, from the bankruptcy. This is just a very interesting car, you know. Iacocca wanted like a real high-end car for Chrysler, so he made this thing. But it's like, the problem with this car is that like it's borrowing from everything. So they put the bustle back on it, and they're basically just copying a Seville. They have the big chrome grille on it, which it's kind of an interesting story on that. So that's kind of, it's one of Iacocca's most famous successes at Ford. You know, when they made the Lincoln Continental in, it was 68 or 69, I don't remember the exact year, he basically said put a Rolls-Royce grille on it. And then that was kind of the thing all through the 70s. Everybody did that. But by the time Chrysler did this, it was kind of over. Like, nobody really cared about that anymore. You know, they put fuel injection on this 318 and it didn't work. And, you know, they put aluminum wheels on it and all this fancy gingerbread stuff. And I don't know, the 81 to 83 Imperials is kind of a weird car. This is obviously really good money for an Imperial. These don't have a ton of value, but the fact that it was Iacocca's car obviously adds value. It's funny, on Facebook the other day, somebody posted a picture of somebody in Montana who had like 20 of these in their backyard. He probably has the largest collection of these in the country. So yeah, good money. That's because it was Iacocca's car, but these things are kind of weird cars that really don't have a ton of value just for multiple reasons. The mechanics don't work, and the styling's, you know, not very original on it, but they're definitely interesting cars. So this is the first car from the Mopars5150 collection. They're kind of famous online. They do really well with social media, good at finding cars. They brought several cars to Mecum, as we mentioned earlier. This one is a 1969 A12 Super Bee. The A12 package was the first 446 pack. So 390 horse, 3 carbs, factory fiberglass liftoff hood. They had the steel wheels with the chrome lug nuts, G15 red lines. This one's a good color combo, 4-speed, has original fender tag, but according to the notes, it's not numbers matching. I believe I'm correct on that. But these are a really cool package. I mean, they were really quick cars. The only thing I really nitpick on this one, it looks like a pretty nice car, but I really don't like the rake on an A12 car. I just don't think it looks right. And then those G15 red lines just look fantastic on these. Like, you know, I love original polyglass tires. They aren't that great to drive on, but the A12 is the one car where you really want the right wheel and tire package on this. The big and littles just don't really fit right on this car. I just don't really like that much. That's Troy and Tony from Mopars5150 there. And then the guy on the right's I can't remember his name, but he's what's called the grinder. So they have a reserve on all their cars, and they're, you know, he basically tries to get them to lift the reserve. And I don't know what the reserve was on this. You know, I didn't have a chance to talk to him about it, but I think they're getting pretty close here. It's up to 105, and kind of seems like the A12 cars have been in the, you know, for nice ones, have been in the $100,000 range for a while. You know, green's not the best color, but that looks like it's F8, which is, you know, the best green in my opinion. The white interior 4-speed kind of makes it. I've always kind of had a debate whether they, you know, if you bring a big collection like this, if they take a break on commission. But you know, I was watching this a little bit, and they said they'd take 5% on it. So, and Tony said to Troy there, "Ooh, you take 5," and I don't think Troy was quite on board with that, but that's what they did. So I believe they usually pay 10% on both sides, and they negotiate down to 5% to get this one sold. Because the thing is, when you bring a car to auction and you have to pay, you know, $1,000, $2,000 to get it there, if it doesn't sell, then you have to ship it home. So, you know, losing over a couple $1,000 is not a big deal. You know, they probably had $125,000 reserve on this, but, you know, at 110 at 5%, you know, the 5% saves them,
you know, almost $5,000 on this, so it makes sense. That looks like the new owner. Looks like a pretty nice car from Mopars 5150, and it's a sold car. And here's another one from Mopars 5150. This is a 1968 Charger, and it's a pretty much a complete resto mod. It's a, they said it's a 426 Hemi. You can see the front cowl area is all enclosed in. Not really sure I like that structure bar in there. I mean, I know that's probably necessary to handle the horsepower, but they say it's a modern third gen Hemi, but it's a 426 with a supercharger on it. There's some interesting touches on this car. I mean, it's a resto mods. You're not really looking for stock stuff, but I really don't like the shifter. I don't like the gauges. I don't like the vinyl top trim. Well, I guess there is a vinyl top on there. Never mind. Blacked out charger, you know, the gloss tail panel, I don't like that. It's too flashy, but it is a resto mod. But you know, this thing's got two good things going for it. It's resto mods are super hot right now, and chargers are super hot right now, and it's, you know, a nice confluence of that. It's kind of interesting. They actually don't go back and show the 5150 guys on this one, because it must have hit reserve pretty quick. They don't show that reserve met, but it had at this point. So I think that's pretty good money for that car. Again, you know, resto mods are hot, chargers are hot, but that's good money for a Charger, even with that kind of mods on it. You know, they do mostly stock stuff, but they're trying to branch out in a little bit of everything. You know, anything they get their hands on, anything Charger wise, they'll buy. So this is the last car we're going to show you from the auction, and another 5150 car. It's kind of interesting. They actually didn't show very many other cars. I think they had like 8 or 9 cars, maybe 10. A couple GM cars I might have missed, but it's you know, just Mopar. That's Chris Jacobs. He's kind of their local, you know, Mopar guy. You know, he's just showing the fender tag on this one. But this is a 1970 Dodge Challenger TA. And this is a pretty good car. I mean, it's a good color. It's numbers matching. It's, you know, all the documentation, all that stuff. It's a really good car. You know, the TA and AAR Cudas have kind of been around kind of the A12 car market, you know, kind of around the $100,000 mark for a while. But a car with a good color and numbers matching, you can kind of get a premium, and this kind of shows that. You know, Troy actually said that this is the one he wouldn't mind taking back home because it's such a good car. Yeah, I don't really know the dynamics of when, oh, thumbs up, so reserve's off already, so they must be pretty happy with that. That was pretty quick. The grinder looks pretty happy, and they look pretty happy. So as far as I know, I believe they sold all their cars. I think there was one Chevelle they didn't bring home. It is kind of interesting how fast the gavel goes down once the reserves hit, because they don't really have to work it that much anymore. But yeah, good car, good money for that. You know, we just recently sold an AAR Cuda that was a 4-speed. This one's an automatic, so it's worth a little bit less, but it was a, you know, $100,000 car for an AAR. You know, but it was not numbers matching, but it was numbers tranny and fender tag. So I mean, I think 120,000 is probably a pretty fair deal for that car. It's a really nice car, and Mopars 5150 did pretty good out of this auction. I think they had a pretty good experience. You know, when you bring stuff and you sell it, that's good on them.
All right, everybody. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. We actually highlighted quite a few cars this time, and there's a lot of interesting cars, and I try to highlight ones that we can, you know, add something to, you know, if it's something interesting or different, or if there's something wrong, or if they're super nice. Like we try to like pick cars that highlight that. I thought it was interesting. It's always interesting to me, like what they show and what they don't on TV, and I'm not really sure who makes the decision on that. I mean, I don't think Mecum Auctions does that. I think it's the TV that does that for the most part. But you know, we only saw 3 of the Mopars 5150 cars. They had a Charger that they listed that was kind of a patina build, and I actually really wanted to highlight that one, but I unfortunately didn't have any video footage of it, so I couldn't really do that. But it was like a barn find car they found that basically did, like, you know, 17-inch wheels, did a mechanical restoration on it, and they just cleared it, and it was patina. It was kind of interesting. You know, the barn find patina thing was really in like 5 years ago, and it's not as popular anymore. You know, the barn find dust and all that used to bring like a huge premium on this stuff, and I just haven't really seen that lately. You know, and that car did okay. You know, got like, I think it was 60 or 70. You know, which is still decent money, but you know, Chargers are hot right now, and it did pretty well. But it's, you know, I think a couple of 3-4 years ago it would have done really well. And contrast that with the 68 Charger. They had the Resto mod with the had the 3rd gen Hemi that was 426 with a supercharger on it. And that car got $190,000 plus the juice. You know, so that's another $19,000. So it's over $200,000 for that car. And, you know, the hottest car on the market right now is a 68 Hemi Charger, and that's all over the market, like Mopar, GM, you know, whatever. They're just Chargers are killing it right now, and then Resto mods are really hot too. And that was one thing we really saw at Barrett Jackson this year. The Resto mods did really well. So you know, Chargers did well. You know, they had that TA Challenger. It did really well too. The A12 car did pretty good. So again, I'm kind of seeing the market. You know, kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit. You know, again, we're kind of, you know, we're definitely in a market where it's more of a buyer's market than a seller's market right now, unless you have a Charger or a really nice Resto mod. There's a lot of guys building those. Those seem to get a premium, but like, you know, the TA Challengers, the A12, you know, Super Bees of the market tend to be kind of flat right now. But I've still seen that good cars still get good money. You know, there's still a lot of junk out there. Like that 68 Dart we highlighted. That was not a very good car. You could just tell from the pictures. It was a poorly built car. It was not put together very well. And that car didn't bring very good money. And that's, you know, and honestly, that's the sign of a healthy, functioning market right now. You know, good stuff's getting good money and bad stuff's not. That's just kind of a sign of, you know, how things are going. So, well, hope everybody enjoyed this video. As I said, we'll keep on doing these if people like them. You know, like I just thought it was kind of an interesting market snapshot. You know, probably the next big one coming up is the Mecum Indy auction. That's a couple months away, but that's a pretty big one for them. You know, it's kind of second behind Kissimmee on their order. You know, Glendale's probably third. So, thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody enjoyed, and we'll talk to you soon.